Hello and welcome everybody to an impromptu reading today where we're going to take a look at the, well, it's here actually, it's not upcoming anymore. We're going to be looking at Mercury Retrograde and dare I say welcome to the reading because I actually look at retrogrades as an opportunity to address issues that needed to be fixed, to learn more about ourselves, and to basically hopefully thrive, and that's why I put that in the title as well. So I try not to face it with any sense of fear or anxiety because it is what you make of it, folks. And a little bit of preparation can go a long way. And it's just like every other day, you take it a day at a time. So I'm here to hopefully help us all relax a little bit, inform us about what this retrograde has to offer. It's kind of magical because it's happening right here at the end of 2022. It's kicking us off into the new year. So it's going to be hopefully helping us, teaching us, and leading us. If we look at it that way, it's not something to be feared. After all, New Year's is happening. There's some great sort of energy happening here at the beginning of a new year. So let's embrace it, right, folks? Okay, good to see everyone. I put a little poll up. It's kind of fun to see how much energy and how much attention you're putting into it. It looks like most of you are optimistic about it. Some of you, maybe 1/4 of you, are a little bit nervous. So the rest of you are like, oh my gosh, retrograde's happening. So I just wanted to kind of see where we all fell on the spectrum. And it looks like for the most part, we're good. There's a few of you that don't even know what it is. It's basically when the planet appears to go in reverse. It's sort of, it's an illusion, but what happens is basically with us, communication can be affected, technology can be affected, and sometimes in addition to all of this, we can have miscommunications as well. So what we're going to be doing today is really doing our best to hopefully avoid some of these things and make the most of this moment. Okay? So one moment, someone's knocking at my door. It's retrograde happening already. 1 second. Whoever it was is already gone. Another example of communications or miscommunications. So live and in effect already happening. Okay, so with all of that being said, I took some questions today from all of the members, and I'm going to highlight maybe the top 7 to 10. I'll keep taking a look at the community tab as I do this to see if there's some additional messages that come through. But I found a few that I think all of us will benefit from. And this is some of the new ways that I'm giving back to members in the new year. When I do these impromptus, rather than gating all of the readings for members, I thought, let's just let them ask me questions, and then I can basically have that affect the reading, and we can all enjoy the readings. I'll occasionally do a members only, but they end up being really great readings, and I thought, let's just find a different way to communicate and participate. So let me know if you like that in the comments. And anyway, welcome everyone. Let's begin with a general reading for today. Let me see what I'm kind of I'm going to use the Lightseers deck for today because it always brings really beautiful energy. And again, even when we see that sort of joyful card on the back, I feel like that's what we kind of need to look at with respect to this. So I'm going to do a general forecast first and foremost. And then after we do the general forecast, we will go a little bit deeper into some of the questions you have and some of the questions I have after I see what's coming through here. So let me basically lay out the Celtic cross. This is for everybody that's present. I may also do an elemental breakdown today just to kind of see how the elements will be affected by this retrograde. And then I think that rather than expanding it, I'll look at some of the special questions. So I think I'll do a general, and then I'll take a look. We'll see. Let me just see what the cards look like. It's impromptu, so we make it up as we go. Let's see what's going on here today. Again, we're going to set an intention today to help inform opportunities, blocks, and everything in between. What does the retrograde have to teach, to show? How can we best prepare ourselves? A lot of healing that's coming through with the 9 and the 10 of Swords here. We'll talk more about that in a second. Just zoom out a bit. I'm going to go ahead and expand it because it makes sense. If we're looking at retrograde, we need to see what's coming through with health, wealth, love, and destiny. Okay, I think I can move these over a bit so you can see that. Okay, good. This portion's for everybody present. The retrograde's in the title. It's happening today, 29th through January 18th. It's literally in the title and in the description, so you can remember. Because I know everybody forgets, myself included. So for those of you that are wondering, look at the title, look at the description, and then bookmark this video, and you won't have to ask. You won't have to forget. All right. If you just joined, welcome. We're doing an impromptu today. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. I don't normally kind of not have the introductory stuff. So by the way, if you like what you see here, drop me a like and subscribe. Definitely put the notifications on. I do throw surprise videos out like this. You can follow me on social media. I did announce it on social. And for anybody that gives back today, thank you so much. You help make this possible. Just a quick reminder that I don't offer private readings and I don't use direct messages. Okay, that being said, let's get into the reading. Appropriately enough, we got a tower type card here for your catalyst. The catalyst in any of my readings is basically what kicks off the action for a period of time. So whether I'm looking at a week, a month, a day, or in this case, a period of time that stretches about 3 or 4 weeks, it's all, some of you may feel like it's chaotic, but really this, for all of us, the storm can come through and clear things. So think of, for some of you, if you've been in an energy of drought, like it's like a desert, where there hasn't been water or rain for a while. It can be chaotic during the rainstorm, but afterwards there's this sort of like super growth that happens where all the cacti come to life. There's all these sort of blossoms. And I feel like for some of you, if you can kind of withstand some of the confusion or chaos of this initial retrograde period, then there's the super bloom that's going to happen for you in January. And again, I think it's very telling and very appropriate that we're kicking this off a few days before New Year's. Retrograde is now. It's going to go till the 18th, and then there's a shadow of about 7 days or so afterwards. So most of January it's going to affect. So during this period, could be rapid changes. There could be movement like a storm. Some days may be clearer than others. Some days may be more intense than others. So you're going to pace yourself. You're going to take it one step at a time. I haven't yet showed the one card pull for tomorrow, but I'll tease it a little bit. We got the Page of Swords, I believe is the page. No, sorry, the Knight of Swords in reverse. And one of the things that I was talking about with that was slowing down. I'll post that video after I do today's here. But I think that can actually be sort of like a patron card of this. Just slow down a little bit, listen, really take in what's going on, and then act. That's one of the best pieces of advice in retrograde, is also just like clarifying, did I hear you correctly, or am I kind of putting my own lens or assumptions in this place? All right, let's look at the cards and let's see what's going on here. First of all, I want to highlight what's just popping off the table to me. Okay, so we have the 10 of Swords in the crowning position, and it's reversed, and we see her walking away from pain. So many of you are in this period right now where you're like, I think I've had enough of something, of X, Y, or Z. I want to go in a new direction. And sometimes that last little straw that breaks the camel's back is actually also what liberates you. And so this 10 of Swords shows the beauty in kind of putting something to rest. So that's one thing that's popping out of the spread before I even tell the story or weave the narrative. We see empowerment coming through in this as well. And then we also see testing, like when you get some good news, you go into fear. So healing, positive movement, and then fear that's coming through. Let's tell the whole story, but those are 3 pivotal cards. This is where your head's at. This is the near future. This is the outcome. All right. One card at a time, going into the center here, Ace of Swords in reverse. One of the questions that's coming through from Spirit right now is, do you know what you want? Are you clear on what you're trying to bring into the universe in this time? Because if we're kind of scattered in what it is, like, you know, I want this, but I don't know how, or I don't know why, the universe is saying, take a deep breath, put the coffee down for a second, and really kind of evaluate what this is about. Why is it important to you? And can you be clearer in what you're trying to manifest or ask for? Clarity in thoughts, clarity in actions, clarity in words. And just like I said, the Knight was slowing down, and reverse, we now have the Ace. So slow down the thinking process and the speaking process. That's going to help you every single day of this month, long after the retrograde and the shadow is gone. Really slow yourself down in January and just clarify. This is a really good time, by the way. Retrogrades are great for revision, reviewing, editing, rebuilding, anything where you have to go back and improve upon something that has been started, clarify something that you've already said, finishing. It's a good time for finishing and revising. And that's basically what this card is all about. We usually don't see people on it. There's a few decks that I own where you see a person. But typically it would just be the sword, and the sword reverse would be the equivalent of a pen or a pencil, and you're going through and you're editing. So this is the main thing right now, is to edit, review, revise, and finish what it is that you want to get out into the world. You're off to a good start though. The Ace of Swords is a good idea, a good sort of initial presentation, but you have to take it to the next level. So keep working on it and stay open to other points of feedback. And I think that's going to be key. The big lesson that's presenting itself, that's going to be a tug of war with you this month in the retrograde for everybody watching. Again, we'll go into elements and specifically look at the signs in just a bit, but everybody's going to be feeling sort of tug of war of like, who's in charge? Do you want to do this? Some people may present you with an opportunity and say, hey, I think you'd be great for this. What do you think? Or maybe they're confused about something and they're presenting this option to you and they say, hey, I really need your opinion. And you kind of feel like, uh-oh, can I do this? Yeah, you can do this. You're getting into your head space a little bit too much. Something could come out of the blue. People want to know what you think. And this is when you have to just sort of put it out there. You can always ask and say, okay, I'll try this, but I need some more information. When is this due? Why do you want my opinion? What are we trying to accomplish? So you can be inquisitive and then take the lead. Clearly, they're a little confused if they're coming to you. So maybe you can co-pilot this, but somebody needs to take the initiative. There could also be people coming in and noticing where there's a lack of organization or leadership, and they're going to take the reins. So if there's something that you're seeking, wanting, or trying to accomplish, now is the time to really put your, stake a claim on that. And for other aspects of what we're looking at here, it's a chance to really sort of raise your hand, get clarity. But you are being put in a position where you can lead, you can co-pilot, you can co-create if you're ready and if you're willing. If not, someone else may step in, and that's kind of what Spirit's showing us here, okay? As we look at your deep past, there's a reminder from Spirit, lest you forget, that you, I'm talking about creation here, you are the source, and that's basically what the Magician card shows. It's a little more subtle in this deck. I found the elements before. In each one of these sort of energy fields, you can actually see the sign for earth, air, water, fire, those little tiny triangles, right? So we have the elements represented there. Typically, we would see tools at a table, water, fire, earth, air, and the cups and the wands and the, et cetera, et cetera. So for you, what we're looking at is, okay, you can do a lot of things. You have a lot of things that are driving you, but what do you want to focus on? These two cards reversed don't mean that they're weak. This is revision and clarity, and this is limiting, doing less but doing more. So really figure out what your voice is, what your point of view is, and focus on one of these lines first. Don't try to do the whole kitchen sink. And then delegate and take ownership of things. And that's something that's coming through pretty clearly here in this period. We have the Knight of Swords here, and he's reversed. I mentioned that being sort of the patron of this retrograde. So not only was it the card that I was pulling for tomorrow, but I see it here in the recent past. So for many of us, there's this question of, is it too late? That's actually what I see with this when I'm pulling it in the spread here, because we see a knight trying to run over to his motorcycle, catch up. We see other people saying and doing things, and he's sort of I've lost time, I've lost touch. And remember what I said at the beginning, slow and steady wins the race here. In my reading for tomorrow, I talk about hastiness and how sometimes when you're hasty, you end up like creating more of a mess for yourself. You have to go back and fix it. So think before you speak, think before you act. And even if you are a couple steps behind, don't necessarily rush. Look for an efficiency, ask for help, maybe reduce some of the scope of whatever it is that you're trying to do. There are better ways to catch up than just to run or to rush something and make it be sloppy or not what you want, okay? Because you can also count on the fact that someone else may be taking shortcuts and it will cost them. So your quality and diligence and mindfulness will eventually get you to a point where you can overtake them. And that's what we see here. Slow, steady, don't rush, and basically be insightful on how you're kind of going forward. That's going to be the key thing here. Some of you have a score to settle. You have things that you need to say or do. Everything that we just talked about is also key with this. Sometimes you just want to say it and get it off your chest. But what we see in the crowning position is some of us have been there and done that. You know that it may be instantly gratifying, but it is like eternally something that you might be thinking, oh, I wish I could have or would have said it or done it differently. So slow it down, edit, revise, and practice. Both of these cards are saying you've almost got it, but a couple small revisions or adjustments can take you from this to maybe like 10 of Wands instead, which is moving it forward instead of taking a step back. Now, let's take a look at this 10 of Swords, which is probably my favorite. And it's hard to say that I would have a favorite 10 of Swords, but I think this is probably it. So we have someone here who's gone through it before, and she recognizes that it's not worth it. She can avoid and see a 10 of Swords like a mile away. Or she maybe just came through the 10 of Swords and sees the blessing. It's basically like, I don't have to exist in a place that causes me pain anymore, whether that place is a relationship, whether it's a friendship or a job. Usually there's another person involved. But it's basically saying, I choose the path of healing. And this retrograde really wants to present healing and empowerment for you, should you choose to accept it, okay? There's a history on this card where the illustrator actually did a different version of it, got a bunch of backlash, and basically did a new version of the card. And you can kind of see the energy of that even in this 10 of Swords, which it's like, I got it, let's move on. And I kind of like that. And the spirit of this card is probably better than the original. So that's kind of what it's about, is taking your learnings and your experiences and sort of like deciding, what am I going to do next? That's not the end of the story. That's just what I needed to go through. It was a lesson that I called in. Little sidebar here, deep breath. This is one thing to think about with respect to the retrograde period. Everything in your life, in this moment and what's going to happen over the course of the next 3 weeks or so, it's not happening to you or at you or around you. It's happening explicitly for your benefit. You've called them in, these experiences and these people, as teachers, as lessons, as opportunities. Some of them you're going to have to go through. Some of them you can dismiss and say, actually, you know what? I've already learned that. I don't need to do this again, because you can make and break a cycle in retrograde. So the 10 of Swords here is basically saying, do you need to do this again, or can you move forward? I love that she's walking into the new day here. In the traditional 10 of Swords, we see all of this sort of dark, murky colors, but there's this fine line of the new dawn, and she's in that new dawn here. And that's what we see in the very next card. Beyond the pain comes this sense of rebirth. And this is the baby, one of the many baby cards. We can have 6 of Cups, the Sun, and the Fool. They're all kind of like children. But the Sun is usually a little baby riding in on a horse, saying, here I am, let's try this again. And we see in this card this connection to the source energy, and it's basically saying, I found my power. They didn't take it away. That experience didn't sort of like completely bowl me over. I'm actually stronger and even more wise from this experience. So this is reclamation of power, realizing that you can do this, that this is a new beginning, and all you have to do is sort of like stake a claim and say, all right, I'm ready. That's what the universe is waiting for from you. Yes, you may have been through some really difficult things. I see it in the 10 of Swords. You have a choice. You can either let that define you, or you can move forward. There's no expiration date on grief, on pain, on suffering, on your experience. But what the cards are showing here is that there is a new day, there is a new dawn. And however you get there, whether it's by leaning on others, by finding the strength within, whatever it is, it's waiting and it's worth it. And there is something to look forward to, and there is empowerment, and there is a different version of you that's ready to kind of get out there. But you have to believe it. Do you believe it? That's kind of one of the questions of the retrograde period. Let's see how you're showing up. It's actually quite powerful. People around you see it before you see it. That's what I see with this. We have the 10 of Cups, which is a card of community, of love, of partnerships. Okay? It was reversed, which means people around you may be more clear on how much of an impact, how important you are, sort of like what you have to offer than you are. There could also be a lot of people tugging at your time and energy. So in this case, all the 10s can kind of like work together. So for some of you, you're just walking away from people that caused you a headache or whatever. You get to kind of sort out who you spend your time with and who you decide to walk away from. These cards are reversed. They require balance. Sometimes the people that know us the best can also hurt us the most. So you need to find a way to create firmer boundaries. And really, as we look at the next card here, focus on healing. This is in the environment. And, you know, with the 7 of Pentacles, it is saying you're headed in the right direction. But with the 7 of Pentacles comes this feeling and I wish it could happen faster. Why does someone else have more than I do? Maybe I can just try to do a little bit more, even though I know deep inside that I shouldn't. The 7 of Pentacles is very, how can we put this? It's kind of like a wound that's just healed. You've taken the scab off, but the skin is still soft to the touch. So your lessons are still freshly learned. And even when we see this fresh start that's beginning, we don't want to overwater it. We don't want to force it. So take your time. You're not in any sort of schedule per se. A lot of what's put on us is parents and, you know, family and workers and people around it. Like it's external. It's imagined. So you do you, and you do the healing cycle that works best for you, because I see you headed in the right direction. 7 of Pentacles is a reminder. Slow is better than fast when it comes to this, and less is better than more. We don't want to overextend, overpromise, and then ultimately underdeliver, and kind of bring in the energy of the 7 of Swords, which is a distant cousin to this card. We want to stay accountable. We want to stay realistic. We want to carry the lessons of the 6 of Pentacles, which is, I can put some energy here, some here, but I need to keep some for myself. Balance and discernment. Keep that message with you, and then before you know it, you'll be in the 8 of Pentacles, where you're taking on something new. You're in your comfort zone. Things are blooming and going where they need to be. All right. What's the opportunity in this retrograde outside of what we've just talked about? Well, it's realizing your own. We talked about reclaiming power. So, you know, the Hermit always carries a lantern, and in that lantern is the light. In this particular deck, we see that the person doesn't need the lantern anymore. They're shining from within. So for some of you, what's come through right now is the understanding that maybe there was a person in your life that you looked up to quite a bit, whether it's a mentor or a friend or someone in your family. But you've realized either like they've served their lesson or their purpose, or now you don't need it as much because you're trusting your own instincts. And there's a power when that happens, because you don't have to pick up the phone. You don't have to send an email. Sometimes we don't have a choice, right? Someone that you love could pass and go into spirit, and then you have to find the strength within. Or maybe you've moved, there's great distances, or that person's moved on and they're focusing on someone or something else. And you have no choice but to cultivate. And that's really what the 7 of Pentacles is doing. Cultivating your own strength, your own knowledge, and your own power. Feeling how good it is to exist in that power, and realizing on some levels that maybe there was a codependency, or maybe you just didn't have a chance to grow because that other person was shining so bright. And now you can basically say, I'm ready to come out of my shell, because that's what this card reversed is all about. Okay. So we see this sort of bright energy that wants to come forth, but a little bit of shyness, a little bit of doubt, because this is saying, I've been hurt before. This is a newborn sort of energy. This is fresh. Like I said, this sort of recovery is fresh. And there's this desire right now to kind of just keep to yourself. All right, now we have the Nine of Swords, which ultimately is about going to worst case scenarios sometimes. So fearing the worst, before a date, before an interview, before a really important event in life, a lot of times we sit down and we think, oh my gosh, look at the competition, look at me, look at all of this stuff, and you worry and you start to kind of project out stuff that the other person isn't even thinking. So what I'd like you to do as you look at different things in your life that kind of put you into that spiral, that fear spiral, which, by the way, that's a great way to describe what we're seeing here, is a spiral. Let's go up, not down. The card reversed is a downward spiral. We want to go up the staircase towards ascension. And so if we spiral up or out, it's a Kundalini awakening, basically, right? So, and we see one of these birds in spirit ready to transform. So basically, this is a moment to say, yes, some of this stuff could happen. Maybe they think this, but what if it's the reverse? What if I can do it? What if they really like what I have to bring forth in this situation? What if this is exactly what I've been looking for? Why not? This card in reverse is not saying like, why me? It's saying, why not? Why not me? Why can't this work? Why shouldn't this happen? In a positive way, not in a sort of like, let's poke a hole in this. So I want you to focus on why can't you accomplish your goals, and then use that. Is it a fear? Is it a lack of preparation, a lack of information? Go to the why not and then make it disappear. And that's going to be the big opportunity for you in retrograde, is to see the fear, to dig into that a little bit, and to basically let it go. At some point, we just need to release the fear and take a deep dive and understand that you're ready to swim. You're gonna be okay in this period of time. All right, I'm gonna extend this and look at health, wealth, love, and destiny next. And we'll be looking at what the retrograde has to heal with these particular aspects of your life right now. I'm not a doctor, I'm a tarot reader. So if you need to speak to someone about physical or mental health, please do that. What I'm here to do today is to really help us look at the opportunities in energy. So the energetic healing energy for this month, I talked about focus, and we have Wizard of the Woods here. Let's pull the card upright so you can see the cool illustration. It says focus, and what is a magician but a wizard? It's like magician, wizard, sorcerer, potato, potato. So basically both of these wizards or both of these magicians are reversed. So I mentioned earlier that focus could be the most important thing. If we look at it from a health perspective, there could be too much on your schedule, too much on your plate. There might be too many people pulling you in too many directions. And so the main thing that you need to do in this period of time is say, this is where I feel most aligned. This is who or what matters most. And this is what I need to let go of. And I don't know why I haven't done it before now, but I choose to do it now. And that's going to be powerful. You have to choose to do it. And you also say, I choose to focus on this. I'm letting this go, and I'm going to let this be my main focus. And if you can do that, clarity will come through. But there's a little too much going on. And for some of you, you might just be second guessing yourself. Magic, the magician, it only works if you believe it. If you don't believe in it, it's not going to happen. Okay? That was something my mom used to tell me as a kid. You have to believe in magic. I mean, she was talking about, fairy tales and stuff like that, but she was actually correct. And I took it to a different level when I wrote my book, and I said, magic is just a new truth waiting to be discovered. We don't understand what it is, so we call it magic. Later, science usually proves certain things, and it's like, oh, that is actually not magic. That's just the way the universe works. So some things aren't understood, but the ability to manifest or open up a synchronicity, if you can commit yourself to it, if you can stay open to it, the energy will align with you and magic will happen. So believe in yourself and stay focused, and that's how you can open that synchronicity for yourself. Okay, let's take a look at some of the other cards with respect to health. Some of you were just looking at your foundation, and the foundation can be multiple things. Maybe the relationship needs some work. Maybe your overall sort of approach towards health and diet needs some work. Something is creating a little bit of a haze or sort of like bumpy ground around you. So I would say focus on looking at all aspects of your life and thinking, how can I stabilize this? So when I'm looking at health, it's just really making sure that you focus on one thing at a time. Don't try to do everything at once. It'll get confusing. You're going to get frustrated. One thing on the list at a time. Maybe you need to sort of think of it as triage. Where can I make the biggest impact? If you can't decide what to do, think about where you can be most impactful, and that will help too. All right. The Magician can also indicate sort of, for some of you, it can be how much you're putting into it can be like diet and medicine. So again, I'm not a doctor here, but there could be too much. You might be trying to do too much. So work with a dietitian or a doctor to really look and make sure that there's nothing that's sort of like fighting one another. So, the only thing that I can think of is like, garlic, for instance, if you're taking certain medications, can counteract it. So make sure you're not trying to do too much. Eating can be going to extremes, right? So yeah, a little bit of something can be good, but a lot of it can sometimes be toxic. So really focus on moderation, and then again, working with a professional with that when you need to or when you're sensing that there could be an issue. This can be chronic pain. I like that the card is reversed. It means that there is an outlet or a way to alleviate this. So focus on where the pain is, talk to someone, and make sure that you're, for those of you that are dealing with something in the body, it's usually in the back with the Ten of Swords, but it can be anywhere, and make that the central focus. And we see healing or alleviated pain, which is good. This is also emotional pain in your life. And with this reverse, we talked about that earlier. It's deciding to go in a different direction, choosing you in the equation and saying, I'm ready to heal. Solar plexus energy. These two are hand in hand. So our belly, our solar plexus, is where we kind of sometimes feel that. It's our initial connection to our mom, right? So the umbilical cord, we eventually remove that, but sometimes we still kind of cord people when we have power struggles and it hits us in the stomach. So sometimes when you're dealing with a power struggle with someone, which is also the Chariot, a tug of war who's in charge, you can feel it there. So it could be digestion issues, right? Maybe your appetite is off. Maybe you just feel like there's like knots in your stomach or butterflies there. So of course, yes, work with your doctor, but also look at other things in your life that could be inducing stress, or people in your life that could be creating that, and approach it. It's basically looking at it holistically, mind, body, and spirit. I'm really here to help you with the spirit portion of this. Let's see what else is coming through. Like I said, healing, but slow and steady healing. It's not like overnight. I do want you to pay attention to your sleep. So Nine of Swords is invariably connected to how much you're sleeping, if your bed is comfortable, what you're doing before you go to bed, what your dreams are telling you. Sometimes our dreams can really be informative, and if you work with a therapist, you can talk about hopes and fears that reveal themselves through your dreams. If you're working on your intuition, you can keep a journal, see how it comes to fruition in everyday life. But the main thing with the Nine of Swords is to focus on what you can control, to honor and basically say, yes, I'm afraid of this, but why? And then get to the bottom of that. And if you need to do that with the help of someone, by all means, do that. Most of the stuff here with respect to health, it's pretty manageable, which is the good news. It's mostly cognitive is what I'm picking up on. Slow down and focus. That's the message with health. Slowing down will help you across the board. It can also help you avoid injuries. That was something I learned this year. I had to do many subsequent moves after the one that injured me. What I changed in each one after that was I didn't touch a box. I basically hired movers and pointed and directed. And I still have to be as I walk the dog, I'm very careful outside. I'm very slow when it comes to moving, whether it's my body or objects, because I learned that rushing only caused me to have, basically some delays. So you can move forward, and we'll look at this. This is a question. How can I move or do something big in retrograde? Very slowly. Embody the energy of a snail and just take it a very small step at a time. This is going to help you out, though, when it comes to any sort of important movements, okay? All right. Let's take a look now at what's coming through for your wealth here. So we have opportunity and change. Retrograde isn't always bad, folks. Sometimes it's good. This card is reversed, so it could be an unexpected blessing. It could be, and we see all the birds here, there could be some good news that's coming, and you want to make sure that you are reading your emails, listening to your voicemails, keeping your eyes and ears open for things that are posted or things that are said around you. And that's going to be really important to picking up on that. Because whenever we think of the energy of any of the court cards and swords, they're only as good as their ability to listen. So the page, the knight, the queen, the king, their ability to communicate or to act, that's one of the great things with King of Swords or Queen of Swords. But if they can't listen, or if they can't kind of like take in information like Queen of Wands, then it's not going to go anywhere. So one thing to be aware of right now is, am I reading everything? Am I tuning in? And am I asking people? Am I picking up on the nonverbal stuff? Because it looks like signs are incoming and they're kind of flying around you. That's going to be really, really important. Okay. Focusing on the cards themselves with respect to wealth right now. Again, we're looking at retrograde. Here's what I'm seeing here. For many of you, you're ready for more autonomy, more power. The Chariot and the Sun, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be like the boss, but it does mean that you need to have more of a say. And you have to figure out if where you're at is going to be supportive for that, whether that's a relationship or a job. I'm seeing more power and empowerment. And I see that people around you are receptive to that. But again, part of this is, do you believe in yourself as you're going through that? It feels like the more you come out of your shell and be yourself, the more love, the more opportunity is going to be there. So we have like a hidden star in the Hermit, but then we have 10 of Cups and Sun. This is how you're showing up. This is what's available to you shortly. Fear is holding you back from this. So all I can say is go for it, and trust yourself. If you truly feel it, there comes a point where you can't hold back. That's what hit me a few years back. And this is kind of my anniversary for when I quit my job, because I decided in December, and I quit in January, around the end of January. And I did that in 2015. I mean, I decided a couple years before that I was ready, but this part of the year is always powerful for me. I started new jobs in this period of time. I started new phases of my life. I just moved into an apartment. I'm never afraid of doing things at the end of the year, because to me, it gives you a chance to really set the new year off into a good trajectory. So be open. There's some big shifts that want to happen for you. All right, let's see what's going on here with regard to work. For some of you, the stress isn't like enough is enough is what I see. So if you've been in a stressful situation, morale has been down for a while, it's time to send out your resume and SOS, to reach out to friends, family, and colleagues. And it may take a little bit of time, but I do see something coming through if you're ready and willing. For those of you that want to launch a new business or kind of step out on your own, there's a fear of failure, but I see more success than failure coming through. It's just fear. It's just stepping into the unknown. If you're happy, but you're wondering what's going on here, one thing that I'm looking at is finances. I'd love for you to take a deeper dive in your finances. This could be a chance to really kind of heal or grow that part of your life. It does look like just stress management is one thing that's going to come up in the retrograde period as well. And finding and using your voice in a way that is impactful, but again, avoiding 10 of Swords. So let's try to avoid getting involved with gossip. Let's try to avoid taking on too much negative energy from others if they say something critical about us. Let's try to elevate the conversation wherever possible. I think that's going to be really important. Okay, let's focus on what's coming through here for love and relationships. I don't know if I want to go as deep on this one as I normally do with like all the different levels. Let's just read it for everyone, because I want to leave time for questions later. So this is an abbreviated Celtic here. The main message across all relationships, whether you're in, looking for, or devoid of and happy to be not in a relationship, we have an awakening. So there's teaching energy in existing relationships, and there's this sort of understanding that without a relationship, you're just as strong here. The universe is with you. Wear a cloak of protection and love. So we don't have to feel like, here's the interesting thing, the Hermit energy came through. So for some of you, you are discovering something new about yourself. The discovery phase is as long or as short as you want it to be. The sort of litmus test for when you can kind of come out and take the cloak off is a simple question. Do I believe in myself? Do I still have to like apologize or try to like make some sort of, accommodation for someone because of who I am or what I feel? When you're finally at a point where you're like, this is me, take it or leave it, you can take that cloak off and it's time to make the announcement or make the movement in that direction. So many of you are introspective and getting the courage to make the leap. Whether you make the leap now, in a month, or in a couple months, that's up to you. But it's soon. Some sort of announcement, some sort of unveiling. It seems like that's what wants to come through with relationships. I'm going to briefly say what I see here. I don't want to go too deep in this. I think the main thing across relationships, old and new, is better communication. So even if you're single and this is just constituting like family relationships, there could be someone with whom you're just having a hard time. You're butting heads and it ends up going nowhere. Focus on, again, what you can control. Lean into people and relationships that are supportive and let this person go their own way. Like that Fleetwood Mac song, you can go your own way. You can, and so can they. And that's going to be a healing moment for both of you. I think that the main energy right now is on self. So for those that are single, it actually looks advantageous. We see a rebirthing energy. If you're in a relationship, it's about making sure that you haven't lost yourself and that you can allow yourself to grow again. So the main thing that I'm seeing this month is improved communications, allowing yourself to not get triggered by other people, and allowing yourself and others to just sort of be their authentic selves. It feels like you need a little space, whether you're in a relationship or not in a relationship. And those are the common threads that I'm seeing. For some of you, love is coming in, but the healing has to take place first. So focus on feeling good about yourself, not feeling like you have to make apologies, dealing with stress management, and then when that new person comes in, it's going to be great. For those of you in an existing relationship, the same energy is what we're seeing here, is basically communication and self-healing have to be the central focus. Okay? That's what we're going to do there. We're not going to take as deep a dive because I have a lot more to cover today. Looking at the Destiny card, we have a reversal here. And Shambhala initiations, it says retreating to recharge, trusting the process, and Dharma. So we don't always get to see the tapestry of why something's happening. And as a little kid in the back seat of the car, maybe you remember, you would just keep saying, but why? But why? Or when? We always had to have all the answers. And you can eventually, maybe you remember your parents just saying, because at a certain point, there's like no answers. There are answers, but we're not supposed to see everything, or we're not ready to know everything just yet. So trust in the process. It's good to keep asking, but then stop for a second and look, the answer may be right there, like the Four of Cups. So slow and steady, slow it down. The snail would be the totem today. I didn't take time to basically channel that beforehand because we have questions and other things, but it's coming out anyway. It would be the snail. Take your time, be cognizant of what's going on. Remember, the snail is a part of the Nine of Pentacles. The snail is also the hermit. It carries its house with it everywhere. And it gets where it needs to be in exactly the time that it needs to get there. So you're being divinely guided. And when you're ready to see and learn, it will reveal itself. And that's basically what that card is telling you. Okay? Impatience really doesn't serve a function. Being inquisitive does, but then you have to give the universe time to show itself, and you have to put on your spectacles and look around and make sure that you're seeing it. Okay? Good. Let's see. Some of you said that you're having some buffering issues. Hopefully you're not. Just hit the refresh button if that's happening. Okay. All right, let's focus now on taking this into the elements. We're going to go into one card apiece, fire, earth, air, and water, and then I'm going to look at some of the questions that members had posted for me. Okay? All right, so let's turn the camera down, and we're going to pull one for each. Let's see, I'm going to switch into this, what is this? Yeah, the Sun and Moon deck for this portion. So, fire, earth, air, and water. Wow, did we get all major? We got all majors. That's so crazy. Major arcanas across the board. That's what I would expect in a retrograde. Super cool. So let's take a look here. Let me just focus here. All right, we're going to look first at fire. Fire, appropriately enough, you're going to kind of rise from the ashes here. We have not just death, but rebirth, and we have the phoenix rising from the ashes. Let's zoom in on this card a little bit. The illusion of an end or a dead end is basically not what it seems to be. sometimes we have to go through a disappointment in our life. Someone says no, we get laid off, we get dumped. Something happens where what we want doesn't go the way we anticipated, but it leads to a better end. For me, the story of my years, I had to go through a bunch of places until I got to this place, and I quite like it. But I went through the fire to find this place. So sometimes you have to go through a few deaths and few rebirths to find where you're supposed to be. Don't give up. Keep pushing. You have the capacity right now through your own, think of it if you want to as a cat with 9 lives or as the phoenix who can't be killed. It keeps rising up from the ashes. That's my spirit totem this year, is the phoenix. And so you can keep doing it. Just keep on keeping on. And, sometimes we don't know how we get through things except the fact that you just wake up each day and you think, let's see what today has to offer. That's kind of how I approach it. It has to be better than yesterday. And even if it isn't, I have more strength and more context and I'll just deal with it better. So my advice for fire is don't give up. Look for renewal opportunities. This is a birthing energy and we're focusing more on the birth of the rebirth than the death. So the dead end or the loss was to bring you to the baby, to the birthing energy. And that's really what January has to give to you, okay? And for those of you, I'm so sorry I don't have a moderator and I can't talk to all of the sort of like loss and difficulties that you're going through. But focus on what is being offered and what's coming through. And I went through a tough year myself, and I'm still working through the loss of a loved one. But I also am embracing all the different opportunities that are coming through. Life continues. And what I try to do is honor the person that left through how I conduct myself, how I approach each day. And yeah, I talk with a bereavement counselor and work through it. And I'm a big proponent of leaning into counseling if you need that. It helps. It helps you get perspective. But don't lose sight of what's opening up. And that's what this card is saying. It's going to be a little bit of both, bittersweet. Something's gone, but something's coming. Something hurts, but something is also appealing. And that's life. Life is bittersweet. It's a little bit of both. But when you think of food, complementary energies in food actually make it better. So if you have a cookie, sometimes there's a little bit of salt on top to accentuate the taste. If there's a really bitter soup, you might want a sweet element in it to help it out. So it's life teaching you through both energies. Neither is better, neither is worse. But you do have a chance to bounce back. You do have a chance to do something different. Some of you may be mourning or moving through that, and it takes time. It's almost been a year for me, and I'm still going through it, so I get it. Give yourself time, but don't lose out on all the stuff that life has to offer. Okay, that was fire. Really powerful. And you've been through the fire, but you're coming out of it a champion, a pro, and like the phoenix rising. Let's look at Earth. By the way, for fire, that's Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, it's just a new phase. It's just a new beginning. Some really cool stuff is coming through for you. Earth, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. The central theme that I highlighted today is coming through loud and clear, or loudest and clearest for you. The Chariot once again. Who's in charge? Which direction are you going? Are you ready to step up to the plate? This is also a card of getting organized. It's a really good time of year to do this anyway, and I'm being forced to do it as I'm moving in. So I think I'm about 75% unpacked. I have a few boxes in each room, but fewer in each than I had a week ago. And it feels so good. I try to get at least 3 boxes a day unpacked. And as I unpack them, I think to myself, do I need this? As I put it into the closet or into a drawer, and if I don't, it finds its way into the universe some other way, recycling or giving it away or selling it or trashing it, because it served its purpose. I don't need to carry it with me here. And when we're looking at the Chariot, it's about moving forward, but not carrying all of that baggage with you. I use the sort of metaphor of Jacob Marley in A Christmas Carol. We don't need to have all of those chains, all that junk with us in this new year. So to lighten the load and speed up the journey a little bit, let go of some stuff. Clean and get in control of things like your finances and your health as well. This is a card of control and management and direction. And so Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, you're pretty good at this anyway. But once you figure out what it is you want to do, it'll be smooth sailing for you, even through a retrograde, okay? Let's move on to my air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. So I got some good news for you. We've got the lovers coming through. You have a lot of love and support during this period. You may be put in a position where people want to help you. There may be actually burgeoning love. There may be someone that's coming through and offering an opportunity or a partnership to you. If we kind of zoom in on this card, there's an egg at the front of this. It's kind of what you want to make of this energy. It's almost like an ace. So the Lovers card is saying you have appealing, attractive, or engaging energy. And what are you going to do? What do you want to do with that? If you've been feeling like nothing's been going your way, shift the perspective. Smile a little bit, talk a little bit, work a little bit, get out there a little bit and see if it's still there. Just kind of test the universe, because what I'm picking up on here is that the temperature's changed around you, but internally there may need to be a reset button. So see if you can't approach the day differently, because I do see something good, something sweet coming through for you. Just like we saw the sweet energy for my fire signs after a bitter moment, okay? And this card is also asking you, do you enjoy what you're doing? Are you in the frequency of love? And if you aren't, find a way to get there in January. When you are in the frequency of love, in love, not necessarily in love with someone, but in the love energy, then more of that like energy comes towards you, okay? Really nice for air. Let's focus on water. We have the moon card in reverse, no more drama. And basically understanding that this is your time. There's always a chance to walk in the middle and go down that path towards the moon here. We see two people on two different sides, or two animals representing two different approaches. You're in the middle. We have like the Piscean energy kind of coming through loud and clear, but there's always a path towards the center. And this is saying, like, don't lose track of what you were initially intending to do. There's some distraction. There could be people that have questions. There could be naysayers. There could be people in pain. You can do what you can do about some of that, but at a certain point, you have to swim forward. I love that we see also partnership for you, the two fish, yin and yang sort of energy at the center as well. So I'm definitely seeing balancing, moving, loving energy across all the elements right now, which portends good things. Let me see if there's anything else that I want to focus on with this. What I'm getting in spirit is it's not about who's right. There may be something where you feel like I have to prove that I'm right or that they're wrong. It's just about doing what's right and moving in the right direction for you. And there comes a point in life, my maternal grandfather said this, and he's been in spirit a very long time. He passed in the 90s, but he said, one of the cool things about getting older is I no longer have to prove that I'm right to anybody. Just knowing that I'm doing what's right, it's enough. And I think he must have said that in his 60s or 70s. So I really appreciate that, and I remembered that. And I try to live that as much as I can. It's sort of like, is it worth the argument or the discussion, or should I just move in a different direction? So I think really picking your battles wisely is what the moon card is coming through and saying. But by the way, no one's going to be able to pull the wool over your eyes. You're going to see things for what they are. You can call out any energy that you don't like, but really focusing on your own accountability, your own path, and your own power is going to be the most valuable and important lesson that I could give to you right now. Okay? Let me just kind of take these cards off the table. I'll do a big idea just because I normally do that. And then I'm going to look at some of the questions that members posed for me earlier this morning and afternoon when I said, do you have any questions? So let me go ahead and do one last card. I always like to do a so what. We'll do a final card at the end, but this is in advance of that. So if we're to pick one big idea, we have Queen of Swords in reverse. All of the Swords cards during a retrograde would probably be in reverse. So this makes a lot of sense. You see her being pensive. She's thinking. She's really making sure she understands something, and she's taking her time. She may need to say something, but she's not going to intentionally try to hurt. She's not going to be too hasty about it. Everything that we talked about with swords, all of your swords were reversed. I would expect that. Again, this is not thinking yourself in some sort of a fear spiral. This is not moving too quickly, and this is not speaking too quickly. And again, if you do all of those three things, it's like the holy trinity of retrograde, you should be okay. All right. I'm going to now take a look at some of the questions that were posed to me by members. So let's take a look at those and hopefully yield some additional insights to everybody. Okay. Let me get my keyboard here. And good to see all of you, by the way. If you like what you're seeing here, please throw me a like and subscribe. Leave some comments on the replay. Let me know what you're doing in this retrograde, how you feel about it. Let me know what you'd like me to cover in future videos. All right, so let's take a look here. I put some of this in a Word document so it would be easier, and I could just kind of call out who said what. All right, so Regina had a really good question for me. She said, what can we do in this period of time to break patterns or cycles? You actually mentioned like repeating cycles in technology issues or communication breakdowns, but why don't we just like abstract it a little bit more and just say, what can we do in this period of time to break a cycle? I think that's a fantastic message anytime we're looking at retrograde, but especially a great one for today. So let's give the cards a shuffle, see what they have to say. This question is from Regina about breaking cycles. So probably what I'll do is I'll see what is the cycle. The cycle is around love and relationships. What's the past? Okay, it's about control. What's the future? Okay. Interesting sort of storyline here that I got with respect to cycles. So one of the strongest cyclical energies that's coming through right now has to do, and we talked about this earlier, this is the Devil card in this particular deck. And we kind of see this, it's like everyone has a skeleton in the closet. So I kind of like the reason that they chose this over like a typical devil energy. So for some of us, there's something that we have been needing or wanting to talk about with a close friend, with a family member, with someone in our circle. And it's been like our skeleton or their skeleton in the closet. I talked about an elephant in the room. It's the same sort of energy. So when we give power to a fearful topic or thing like that, it just gains sort of size and momentum and energy. So by going and by leaning into it and saying, I'm so sorry we haven't talked about this before, but I feel like this is important. Why don't, like basically the minute you do it, it's almost like you took a pin and you're letting the air out of this big, 50,000 foot balloon, and suddenly you can see each other and you take sort of the wind out of fear. And that can only happen through honest communication. You want to know what the devil hates? Honesty, transparency, and clarity. It likes to have things cloudy and murky and fear-based. It likes lies. It likes deception. So if there's something in your life and you need to talk about it with someone right now, that's one of the things you could do is just be really honest. And the relationship is either going to withstand the energy of the honesty or it wasn't strong enough to begin with. Usually it's okay though. And usually people are very happy to talk about something important. This is also control. So if there are people in your life that don't celebrate or want you to have the sort of autonomy and control that you need in your own life, it's your chance to break off and show that you can do this and it's okay. What's coming through right now was the relationship energy, the Queen of Cups. We see the salmon, and salmon, I believe, when it reproduces, it goes upstream. So some of you might feel like you're in this period of time where you're kind of going against the flow. There are times where we have to do that if we're following our heart. And there are times where it can be fruitful, just like it is here for salmon. I would say there comes a point where it should get easier. And so in relationships in general right now, there should be a point where it feels easy again. There's always give and take. Sometimes you go through a really pivotal point where you're like, let's work on this. But when I hear people say that relationships are just work or all work, it shouldn't always be upstream. There should be a point where you can just relax and be with each other. And I think the biggest thing that's coming through is a question from the universe. What do you want? And also, is the energetic investment worth it? This deck has a very unique Two of Swords. It actually kind of is, like I said, very close to the Egyptian weighing of the heart, where you have to think, how heavy is my heart in this exchange? Do I feel valued? Do I feel trodden down? Am I exhausted after this? If any of those things are true, it's time to go down a different path, even if it's not what you thought. sometimes we end up in a place we didn't expect. And this question is just saying, how can we get to a place that feels right again? So to summarize, control and honesty are the sort of relationship issues that are coming through. Equal exchange and not always feeling like it's all work, that's coming through. And then ultimately, you and you alone can kind of decide if this path is right for you. Okay? Good question. But yeah, the main thing that I'm seeing here is relationships, honesty, and control issues popping up. All right, so that was Regina. Elise asked me a question about what just needs to be cleared. So that's a really good one. So this was more about sort of like, what's the cycle? So let's see what maybe is also kind of stuck like a barnacle to us in this period of time. So what can be cleared or what needs to be cleared? Good question. I'm just going to work with the decks that are around me. I pulled a few before I got started. Okay, let's take a look at what needs to be cleared. What's stuck that can be unstuck? Okay, so the way that I'm kind of reading this is what's presenting itself, why it's presenting itself, and what the outcome is going to be on this. So kind of past, present, future. So we'll look at this as the central card first, and we have your ability to kind of focus on leadership, organization, and also like just clarity in thoughts, really being clear, which is something we've talked about. What I love actually about this King of Wands is he's marching to the beat of his own drum. Literally, he's a drummer, he's active, he's not sitting on his throne. He has some of that reincarnation or rebirth energy that came through for the fire signs earlier. So in this moment in time, it's about really knowing that you're your own person. And some people don't like that. They want you to be more in their template. The people that oftentimes, not always, but a lot of times are guilty of this are family, close family, because sometimes a parent has this vision of what their son or daughter might be like. Sometimes a grandparent has a certain wish for their grandchildren. Sometimes your partner wants you to do certain things. So it's about honoring not dishonoring family, but knowing that if they truly love you unconditionally, because we talked about the control issues, then they're going to celebrate the deviation as well as where you respect it. And maybe there's a way you can honor and be yourself as well. But this is about being basically being yourself. Really cool energy as I'm looking at this card. I'm just looking at the finish on this one too. There's a little bit of a I don't know what it is, but I saw something sticking up there. But anyway, this is a really cool card and I like it quite a bit. All right, so moving from this one to like, why did it get there? Well, for some of you, it feels like maybe you weren't allowed to build your own foundation. At some point, someone took away the voice, the vision, or the power. And the tower reverse can be that feeling of, but wait a second, that was mine to claim. That was mine to decide. You can't take that from me. That last piece is key. They didn't take it from you. They just delayed you from maybe understanding that that was yours to claim. So again, he's coming in now and he's saying, I keep I march to the beat of my own drum. I'm making my own music now. I'm making my own path. And what you're really going to find in this period of time is you have the strength, you have the wherewithal to even overcome your biggest adversary or the person that may misunderstand you the most. You can actually, quote unquote, win them over. And it's just by being yourself. It's just by taking that path and saying like, look, I did it, right? There's also this understanding that you shouldn't have to always fight for something with someone. No more fighting, just being. Because this isn't a very sustainable card. You can't keep putting your fingers in the mouth of a beast and expect not to get bitten at some point. At some point, you're just like, I'm strong enough. I'm going to be the lion. I'm going to move forward. No one's going to put words in my mouth or try to control me. I found my courage. So I feel like a lot of you are finding the courage to be yourself. If I had to just summarize all of this, that's what it is. Be yourself, break away, because this is breaking away from a structure that doesn't fit you anymore, and feeling pretty good about that overall. Okay, good question. I mean, they're all good questions. That's why I like to ask you guys stuff occasionally just to make sure you're getting what you need out of these readings. And when I do the impromptus like this, again, I'm giving back to members by doing this. Mermaid Crystal had a question about unfinished business. I like that. So let's see what the unfinished business is in this retrograde. I'm going to try to use a different deck for every question on this, just to change things up and keep it interesting. You can see all of these decks on my website, by the way. I forgot to put a link to my website and my social media, so let me do that right now just so you have them, and then we'll move forward to the next thing. By the way, how's everybody doing today? Hopefully you're doing well. I hope you're getting ready for the New Year's in a positive way. So let's see here. There we go. Now you guys have that if you need it, and I can probably end the poll. All right, so let's go ahead now and take a look at the question, which I need to refocus on here. Unfinished business. All right, let's see what it is that, and this is perfect for a retrograde because there's an old Carly Simon song, Coming Around Again. That's basically what this is. Retrograde is a period where things come around one more time and you get a chance to do it better. So we have, okay, that's a good one. Four of Pentacles. Let's see why it came in the past and what the outcome will be. Okay, we see a successful resolution to some of the challenges that some of you might be having with respect to sort of like self-worth is what I'm seeing here, and kind of like building and going in a new direction. Okay, so let me try something here. I think I can keep this in the corner. Move myself over to the side for a second. All right, so, and I'll zoom in a little bit so we can see this. All right, so we have three energies. Well, probably need to move this lower. There we go. Okay, so if we're looking at these cards here, here, I can actually put it underneath me. So what I'm focusing on here is in the center, we have the Four of Pentacles. So the Four of Pentacles for a lot of you is this feeling of, I have to hold on to something that doesn't serve me, that doesn't suit me anymore, because if I don't, then what else will come in? You know, this is what I've created. I have to sort of like stick with it. And this card is kind of challenging that assumption. And it's saying, you know, this is a foundational energy. We can see two of his, you know, well, he only has two. We see his 2 feet on two of the pentacles. He's holding this close to his heart because he doesn't want to get disappointed. So the main thing here is to open yourself up in this moment in time to believe that the universe isn't going to let you down. That when you release something, when you let go of something, something better, something bigger could be coming in to the fold. And what I see here in the deep past is that you've done the work. So let's look at these cards a little closer. This is the central or the sort of like presenting energy. He doesn't want to release something because he feels like if I do, I'm going to leave myself in a vulnerable position. When I look at the deep past, however, the work has been done to be fruitful, to be independent, to be self-sustaining. And so this inner Nine of Pentacles wants to come out. There's a little snail, by the way. I love that they put it in this one. And so sometimes we're slow to catch up to the fact that I am worth it, I can do it, and I deserve a little bit more than I'm receiving. And this is accepting less than enough or less than the best. So you're worth it. You're worth more than something in your life right now. When you stand up for the worth, we see success, Six of Wands. So I feel like it's just claiming your own worth. The Four of Pentacles has to go through the Five of Pentacles first, which is healing the inner child, letting go of wounds from the past, and also understanding again that it's okay to ask for more. It's kind of like Oliver, can I have some more? You don't even have to ask. You can say, I deserve more. I'm ready for more. Let's do this. Be more declarative on it. And I think that's going to be really key here. So there's a breakout moment when it comes to resource and opportunity, where basically you think that that's all that there is, but the universe says there's so much more. Let's at least try to get you to the 6 or 7 of Pentacles, which we kind of saw in the main spread, right? We had the 7. So I think you're really close. And once you claim that, things will start to go even further and faster. And just trust that it's going to be okay. Sometimes we worry so much about failure or success that we hold ourselves back. So that was a really good question and an unexpected sort of card there. So thank you for that. So your unfinished business is clearing out For some of you, it's clearing out debts, your own or others. For some of you, it's asking for more. For some of you, it's no longer accepting less than enough. So it's balancing work when it comes to energy. And energy is just like a financial statement. At some point, if it doesn't work out, if it doesn't balance out, you've got to sort of clear it. So as I'm getting into the next question here, this one was from Flor, and she said, what can I focus on when it comes to like inner work? And I'm paraphrasing this so it's easier for everybody. So I like that question. Is there something internally that we can all focus on during this period of time to be the best version of ourselves? So good question by Flor. And let's take a look at the inner work and see what wants to come through that I haven't already highlighted in this period of time. All right, so inner work. That is really zoomed in. Let's zoom out a little bit. All right, so inner work, especially with this larger deck. All right, what's the past portion of that? Okay, and future. All right, we have some beautiful cards here. So presenting itself in the center is the Emperor card, which oftentimes has to do with a feeling of control, worthiness, and also sometimes like, I want to say it's imposter syndrome because it's reversed. Because typically a king or a queen would feel very entitled or very comfortable in their skin. And I think that the biggest energy right now, inner work, to look at Flor's question, has to do with knowing that you're not an imposter, that you're actually really beautifully aligned here to succeed. So we have the king or the god of swords in this one. We look at the little butterflies here. He's done some amazing transformative work on himself. And he's learned, again, sort of like what it is that he stands for. But as he's just about to step into something that he's opened up, a synchronicity, he starts to think, I don't know, maybe I was dreaming that up. Maybe I'm not worthy. Maybe I can't do this. Maybe I'm just talking to myself. And the High Priestess comes in one more time in the future to say, careful what you're thinking, Emperor Reverse, because your thoughts manifest. So believe in your worth, believe that you've set yourself up for success, and go for it. Like own it, own who you are. And then start to imagine bigger, better, brighter, because the High Priestess in this period is saying your communication, and retrograde really pays attention to it, it's manifesting in real time. So I think it's so important for you to focus on positive, affirmative thoughts and to negate this feeling like I can't, I won't, and I'm not worth it, okay? And that's the inner work that needs to be done. I'm not taking questions right now, by the way. I took questions from members, but we're answering questions. So stick around. We've got a couple more to go, and then I'll see if there's anything in the main chat that I want to address here. So the next one came from, let's see, I don't know how to say your name. I think it's Vulnevita. Let's see, you had a question about, let's see, facing your fears. I feel like I addressed that for the most part. But maybe we can pull a single card on managing like fears or anxieties in general. Is there just anything that you can do to focus on managing anxiety or fears? Just a one card pull for that. I love the star card. I think this is a great one to look at with respect to that. Ultimately, the star in the upright position is saying, I know who I am. I don't feel like I have to change for others. And typically that sort of confidence, here's what I'll kind of flash back. Think back to school or maybe at work, and you know that there's people that are just, they have an air about themselves. It's like the cool kids. Part of the reason that they are popular, cool, or just have it easy is sometimes they're not entertaining failure as a thought. They're just like, this is who I am, take me or leave me. I think I'm pretty cool. And that is, it's infectious. Not like to the point where it's bravado, but just enough where it's sort of like, nah, especially people that have like this cool style, they dress however they want to dress and maybe just have a bold way of speaking. They don't edit too much. And so the star in the upright position, she doesn't edit herself too much. In the reverse state, she's constantly trying to play to the masses. So that typically creates hesitation. It is something that people can kind of see through and sort of they sniff fear out. So I would say just one day of the week, wear what you want to wear, say what you want to say, test the waters of just being more yourself. See how people react to that and see if it's not a little bit easier for you. You don't have to turn the volume up to 11. Just turn it up a couple notches and see, I'm going to be a little bit more outspoken, or I'm going to wear something really bold today, or whatever it is that you want to do for expressing yourself. Get one step forward, and I think that's going to help. Okay, this was a great question from Michelle. And I think it's a good one during this period. We'll talk kind of like practically first. Little Apollo came back. We'll talk practically first, and then I'll pull a couple cards here. But it says, what if you have to do something new or big or important during retrograde? Michelle was saying, she tries her best to not sign a contract or do something big. But you know what? Life happens. This is true. So what if life happens and you have to do something big? You have to sign a lease. You have to buy a car. You have to move. Well, what I said earlier, and I already put the cards somewhere else, but slow and steady. So the first thing is to go very slow. Don't let someone rush you. And if they are rushing you, something better will come along. Ask many questions and have many sets of eyes and ears looking at and listening to something. In the case of a contract, have your attorney take a look at it. Have your partner take a look at it. Have a friend. If you're going to buy a house or rent an apartment, bring a friend in, have them opening the cabinets and turning on the faucets and looking for problems because you're too attached to the outcome. So that's going to help. Slow down and get more people involved and have more questions. So being curious, being cautious, all of those things will help. And ultimately, if you have the capacity to add time as a buffer for travel, for instance, to add contingency in a budget, padding, just in case you're going to need more, and to basically just prepare for worst case scenarios, you'll probably be fine. It doesn't mean that life stops. Wouldn't that be terrible if it was retrograde and we all just had to stay at home scared? I don't do that. You're still going to have to do stuff. You're going to have to go to the store and buy groceries. We still have to buy things during retrograde. You just be mindful of maybe what would happen at the grocery stores. You could be charged twice or overcharged. Sometimes you're undercharged for something. And you just want to keep an eye on the numbers and make sure when you communicate that people are clear that you didn't say something where you stepped on someone's feet. You're just going to clarify and double check. Okay, that's all. And that's the main piece of advice there. Let's see if there's anything to be aware of as you do something maybe bigger during this period of time. What can you focus on for success? Yeah, because we still have to step outside, folks. Retrograde doesn't mean the end of the world. All right, so guess what? We have the Four of Pentacles making another appearance here, a different version of it. Let me just see if there's anything else that we need to focus on. Okay, interesting. They're all reversed, so I'm just going to read these as upright cards. So again, the presenting energy with this is it's time to let go if we were to look at this in the reverse state. So saying, for some of you, you can't afford to wait something out. And I feel for some of you, it is a move. It could also be this sense that I've got too much pressure and I need to let something go from my plate. So the release piece is fine, but sometimes stepping into a new job or a new situation, you have no choice because it's just like enough is enough. I have to let this go. So I approve of that. I have good news for you. You're not alone. Here's the key to success. It's everything that I just said. We have the Six of Cups, which is friends, and we have the Two of Cups, which is loved ones. So get your friends and your loved ones around you to help you navigate and to be your best advocates, where they say, are you sure about this? Or wait, you forgot this. Or, get a couple sets of eyes. There would be quite a few here. This one tells me it takes a village. It's at least 4 people because even though it's 6 cups, it's 2 people, and 2 cups is 2 people. So I want it to go through 4 levels of eyes and ears. So get 4 people to look. You can be one of the 4, but there should be at least 3 others, 4 ideally. And that's going to make sure that you're okay. Maybe it's a lawyer, maybe it's your friend. Just get some other people involved and you're going to be okay. And also make sure you have the support of loved ones around you, okay? If you do that, you should be fine. And for some of you, you're doing it for the right reason. Some of you, it's because you're thinking of your family and there's this opportunity and you're like, it's going to be good for my children or for starting a family. Some of you are doing it because you love the opportunity or you love the person or you're moving for love. So also this can be the same person and opportunity altogether. If your heart's really behind it, Go cautiously, but go for it. Okay? All right. Let's see if there's anything else. I think I might have hit upon everything. Did I get it all? Oh, one last thing, and then I'll take a look at the regular chat here and see if there's anything that I've missed. So this one's from Misha, and she said, how can I slow down and enjoy, or they, I don't know if it's a he or she, but they said, how can I enjoy the chaos? And that's a really good question, Misha. So let's take a look and see. So a better way or a different way to look at this is retrograde is going to happen no matter what. How can you just make the most of it? So it doesn't have to be chaotic, although we did get that sort of storm card. But like, what can you do to embrace this period of time? Whatever comes your way. Okay, it's a lot of balancing energy here. I do love this Hermit card, and it is about looking for patterns. So we look at this Hermit, and he's basically looking up at the stars, looking up at the Milky Way, seeing the story, seeing the patterns, seeing how it all began, okay? So really good card for Hermit as well, because a Hermit is going within and understanding things. So if there's chaos, if there's stuff happening around you, it probably has its roots somewhere. So this is looking back in time, and that's basically, did you ever know that stargazing is basically history? You're looking at light from billions of years ago. So the Hermit represents looking at the history of something. So rather than looking just at the moment, where did it all come from? How did we get here? When we look at the history, I mentioned the Five of Pentacles. And for some of you, this is a moment where you felt less than, or someone told you couldn't do something. And this card is reversed, and it's saying that that isn't true. That was just a moment. That was just a thought. We're going to go deeper into the well and say, let's really see what's inside. And let's see why I've been holding on to that narrative, because I'm ready for a different version of me to come out. And then we have the Six of Pentacles, which is the balance, and it's seeing yourself through different eyes. Maybe someone in your life, I love that we see someone else drawing this person here. So someone else may be better able to show you your power and your potential. Six of Pentacles traditionally is the scales. So it's really about saying, in this moment, I can't control everything, can't do everything actually, don't want to do everything. I do want to do this. I don't want to do that. And I'm going to stand my ground in these two areas. And by doing that, I show that I value myself, that I recognize the pattern, and that I've finally achieved a balance that feels good to me. Okay? All right, let me take a moment and see if I've missed anything in chat. Otherwise, what I'll do is a final card for today. And then we're going to do a New Year's Eve special for tomorrow, probably mid-afternoon or something, maybe 1-ish or something. I'll figure out the time. And for tomorrow's New Year's Eve, I want to take a look at 12 months. We'll do a 12-month forecast, and it'll be for all signs. Because, by the way, all the January readings are up, including Pisces. And I did like quarters of the year. For this one, I'll do all 12 on the table, and we'll just kind of break it down and see what's going on. Probably just 12 cards, 12 months. And if I need to do any clarifying cards on those, we'll see. But that's tomorrow. All right. So let's take a look real quick at everything that you guys have written here and see what's going on here. So let's see if there's any questions that you guys have for me. Work. Actually, I have one as I'm looking at this here for everybody, which is maybe growth, whether it's work or school. Is there an opportunity for major growth in your life? I feel like that would be a good one. So I'll do a reader's choice, since I did all of the members' choices, and I kind of saw someone talking about work. And then I think we'll go into the final card for today. I hope you guys liked this. If you liked it, let me know. I'm trying to do more sort of like seasonal, celestial, special event readings as time allows. And just kind of like go where the cards carry us, or where your questions carry us in this particular position here. So yeah, this is specifically for those of you that are looking for growth, school or work or personal growth. Well, it's going to go well, guys. I've got the Sun card, and this is a time to focus on yourself. So I like that. What is it that you can focus on? Gosh, the Hermit keeps coming through time and again. All right. And the Emperor. Okay. So these cards have come through many, many times. We have the sun as your central sort of opportunity. With the sun card, it is about owning or stepping into your power, as we said. For some of you, you've been holding on to something too long. So letting go of the perfectionist energy. In the Southern Hemisphere, you guys are in summer, so this really makes a lot of sense. It's basically saying, I've done enough. I put my special thumbprint on this, whether it's like a book, a painting, a proposal, whatever you've been working on. Enough is enough. It's now time to birth it or to put it into the next phase of production. So one thing that I'm getting is simply to release it and allow it to grow on its own. You've done enough. And just as a baby has to be born in a certain amount of time, or a seed needs to be planted at a certain part of the year to grow, this is the point to sort of like birth, release, or let go. Why are you holding on to it? If I look at the deep past, we have the Hermit once more. The Hermit has a hard time letting go of something really near and dear to themselves. And it's kind of nice, like if you've ever been in the creative flow of something, maybe you're a musician and you've created like 10 songs or 12 songs for an album. You like them so much, you like the process so much, there's this feeling of like, I'm a little afraid if I let this go because it feels so good right now. So it's always that way when we birth something. But what I'm getting right now for all of you, if you want to go for something like go to school or release a project or step into something different, this is the time to initiate the action, turn the key on the ignition. It is a good time to work on personal development. So yes, to anybody that wants to go back to school or do something. And then this is a card of empowerment as well. And the future card is basically great. We've got the Emperor here, accomplishing what he set out to do, stepping into that sort of sense of like, I did it, I can do it, I will do it, it's all good. And this would be kind of like, this is the baby, this is the adult here. So you're stepping into that understanding that you're going to get a lot further, a lot faster than you might imagine as we look at that first quarter of the year. So look at your respective readings for January and look at the quarterly forecast and see where Q1 falls. But I feel like a lot can happen for you in that first quarter. And personal development, personal growth is coming through, letting go of something that you've been holding on to or finishing something that you haven't had a chance to finish. It's that unfinished business that's coming up there. Okay. All right, let's move on to the final card because I could chat for hours and days here, but I have to get my one card reading out for tomorrow. I need to walk Apollo. He's given up. He's gone into the other room. He's like, Dad, you're continuing to do this reading. So I feel like we have just enough energy and time in this right now. So what I'm going to do right now is we'll focus on a final card. Is there a question that you have for me? Don't type it out. Just think it right now. And focus on that final question. Let's turn the camera down. Let's give the cards a shuffle. And let's see what the universe has to say about your final question. It's a yes. I feel like I got the same. I used this deck for another sign, and this card came, I think, for the final card as well. So this is a really cool Wheel of Fortune. A couple of things. On a yes, no, it's a yes. There are some things to be aware of. You'll notice on this one we see a couple of serpents and we see a peacock in the background. The peacock is about really showing your true colors. It's that star energy that we talked about earlier. And it may even be a moment to kind of like flex and really show, say like, I worked hard and this is it. And people are looking for the confidence and that sort of authenticity to come through. As you start to embark on something new, there's a power struggle or there's someone in front of you that may try to steal the spotlight or grab some attention. You're going to be unbothered by this. They're not going to sort of like get their way. We see two snakes that end up sort of like just getting each other tied up in their own mess. So what you're going to do is if people are trying to trip you up with a weird question, if they're trying to steal the spotlight, if they're trying to talk over you, whatever it is, you're going to be cool, calm, and collected and just keep on keeping on. And you're going to be fine here. So the Wheel of Fortune also indicates a change of focus, a change of direction, and a change of fortune. So it's changed for the better. But there is a test with this, and you can and you will get past that test. But one of the things that you want to do is make sure that you're not wasting time or energy focusing on these people that are causing sort of like chaos around you or in front of you. Okay, that's everything for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed this. Before we wrap up, a couple of quick notes. I'd love for you to hit the subscribe button. Please opt into notifications. Tomorrow's video will probably also be unannounced or just announced an hour or two before. When I do special videos or impromptu ones, I do it when energetically I'm aligned. So definitely become a part of the notification team and opt into those. You can join me on social media where I will post a reminder. And thank you for everybody that's been a part of this growing family over the last year. I want to just say thanks now to everybody. I'm going to take a couple moments to, first of all, just say thanks to the members. I tried to give back a little to you. Welcome to new folks. I know not everyone can be a member, and it's good if you're just part of this and participating. That's what I do this for. I'm going to say special thanks to anybody that just joined today or that gave back a little bit, because I appreciate it. So give me one moment and then we'll wrap up. And then I'll be back sometime tomorrow. And then again on Sunday, I'm taking Saturday off, aside from the one card read. Okay, so for the members today, these are the folks who joined either in the morning or in the last 12 hours or so. So we have Sandy Link, SP, Shelly Hansen, Robin Kier, Elise, Michelle Buckoff, and Mitch Eckert. Thank you so much. And now for anybody who gave back with a super sticker or super chat, let's see who did that today. Okay, we got a few. Thank you so much. Kicking things off today was Candida Rosso. Thank you very much. Isabel, Yoga Rising, Esmeralda, Yvette Sanchez, Zanib, Tahoe. Good to see you, Tahoe. Thank you so much for your support this year with the members as well. Twin Readings, Gina Morse, Liz Morrison, Aphrodite Goddess 369, Artisan Hemp, Cut and Paste Life, Jessica Valley, April Rain, Regina, you're amazing. Thank you so much for that really generous contribution. I appreciate it. Flor Marina, Pooch Place, and Kit N. I think I got everybody there. Let me just make sure. Flor, congrats on 19 months of membership. Starshine, I see you did it just after I said thanks, so thank you so much. And let's see if I missed anybody else. I don't think I did. I can't see all of the membership, let's see, anniversaries as I go through this, but yeah, it looks like we're okay. All right, that is everything for today. Ready now. Thank you so much for that as well. Again, a reminder that I will be live again tomorrow for special forecast, time to be announced. I'll put something up on social media. And again, we'll take a look at the year ahead. I haven't done that in a long time, maybe like 2 or 3 years. So we'll pull one card for every month of the year and see what next year has in store. And then I'll be doing New Year's Day, and we'll kind of ring in the new year together. All right, until then, thank you guys so much. Lots of love and light, and take care of yourselves. Do something special for yourself during this retrograde and during this new year, remembering that you don't have to just make a New Year's resolution right on New Year's Eve. You can do it every day. Every day is a reset, and I'm here for you when you need those resets. You can look at the one card pulls and see what's coming through. All right, wishing you love and light. Thanks for joining me today. Bye-bye.